Welcome back to Football and Flags, everyone. Manny G here with you, your host, as always. Thanks so much for joining us. Excuse my raspy voice. Not sure why I'm having sudden changes in my tone, but I guess I lost my voice over the last couple of days and still trying to gain it back. But we're going to fight through this. Go ahead and give you guys our final predictions for the group stage for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. We will have our knockout predictions coming up here shortly, but wanted to go ahead and touch base on each group now and give you some predictions. And some changes as well from our previous predictions that we had several months ago. So let's go ahead and get started with Group A. Nothing really changes with Netherlands up top. Really think they're going to control this group, take 3 points from every single game, and move forward totally fine. Now, one big change, though, that we do have was I do remember putting Senegal second in this group. However, with the loss of Sadio Mane, I feel like not only his absence on the field, but psychologically and mentally, his presence or absence there for this team is really going to play a toll on them. So for me, I feel like that's going to drop them down. I do feel like Ecuador is going to be able to take advantage of that very well. I do see them getting maybe 3 points off Senegal, if not certainly Qatar, to get them through to the next round with Netherlands. And certainly keep an eye out on, again, that game between Ecuador and Senegal, that last fixture on the final match day 3 to see who potentially comes out of that group. Moving on with Group B, still have England up at the top. This looks pretty familiar from what we previously looked at, but for England, again, still feel like they're going to be able to maintain everything. I do feel like the U.S. could still pick up a draw against them. However, I don't think that they're going to have enough that they're going to overtake England to win this group. But again, we'll have to wait and see. Still have the United States moving on with 5 points. And our predictions, I do have them defeating Wales and picking up just a point against Iran. I really feel like Iran is still going to be so difficult to score against. This team really knows how to play compact, keep a great shape, and look to counter when they can and take the most out of their opportunities. So I definitely feel like it's going to be difficult for all 3 teams to score against Iran, but have those results for the U.S. and have them moving forward with England. And unfortunately, I just don't see a lot from Wales coming out. If Bale picks up a few goals, great for them, but otherwise I'm not seeing a ton come from that side in terms of being able to get them into the knockout stages. And on to Group C, still got Argentina up at the top. I think I gave them 9 points the first time around. Went ahead and changed that this time. I do believe that, they're going to play incredibly well. However, I've got Poland beating Mexico and Saudi Arabia, but then Mexico actually getting a draw with Argentina. I don't believe Mexico is going to have enough to get through this group, which will be, I believe, the first time they won't make it to the knockout stages in their last 7 appearances, I believe. But still, I feel like Mexico is going to play their absolute heart out against Argentina. We saw what they did against Germany in 2018, pulling off that upset victory in the group stage, but still feel like Poland's going to have too much for them. We saw Mexico just lose to Sweden a few days ago in a friendly exhibition, kind of getting started for this tournament. Remember, Poland beat Sweden in a playoff to get to this point as well. So again, not that those have to go hand in hand or anything like that. I just feel like Poland, talent-wise, may have a little bit too much for Mexico, but keep an eye out on that fixture because I definitely feel like that's going to play a key role in terms of who else moves on with Argentina in this group. Moving on to Group D, still got France up at the top. Feel pretty comfortable with him getting 7 points. I know that they might be disappointed with 7 points. However, considering their recent form, I think 7 points is pretty good for them, especially considering Denmark's coming off of, a run of the semifinals in the Euros. This team has some very solid talent. I think they could certainly be a dark horse if they get to the knockout stages. I do believe Denmark will tie France, take a point away from them. However, I do believe that Australia will also take a point off of Denmark as well. Unfortunately, just don't see a lot from Tunisia being able to get out of this group, but certainly think that Australia might be able to just pull one away from Denmark, which could take Denmark out of winning the group, especially if they tied France with 7 points and it came down to goal differentials. So keep an eye on that. That France-Denmark game is going to be very important, especially considering who might take this group. And as well, knowing who they'll face in the next round could be very important because, whoever finishes second in this group more than likely is going to face Argentina in the round of 16. Moving on to Group E. Feel pretty comfortable with Germany winning this group. I feel like, between their attacking options and their midfield, they are just solid and stout all the way through. Didn't play and press, too incredibly well against Oman the other day. But again, it's just a friendly fixture trying to get warmed up, not trying to have anybody injured or anything like that moving forward, especially considering how important the games are next week. But I definitely feel like the Germans are going to come out, just roaring in terms of being able to score goals, control possession, and dominate in, all matters of the game. So while I do feel like Spain might be able to outpossess them at certain times, and certainly their other opponents with Japan and Costa Rica, I just don't feel comfortable enough thinking that Spain's going to score, enough goals to be able to win this group, but still do have them comfortably getting through in second place with 4 points. But again, don't count out Japan. We saw how well this Japanese team did in 2018 in a tough group. They had a 2-0 lead against Belgium into the second half before Belgium came roaring back and scoring 3 goals there late to get onto the quarterfinals. This Japanese team can control possession well. They've got some really great technical players, guys who can score some fantastic goals. However, they did lose to Canada earlier today, I believe, in an exhibition. So again, though, I wouldn't take these exhibitions too kindly to heart in terms of, what you might see next week in the next couple of games. But unfortunately for Japan, I just think this group's going to be too difficult, as well as for Costa Rica being able to try and make a run like they did in 2014 to get out of the group. So certainly feel like Germany and Spain are the heavy favorites to get through. Moving on to Group F. Although Belgium, I think, are going to be a bit inconsistent, I do feel like this team's still going to be able to take 9 points out of their group. Wouldn't be surprised if they took 7, or maybe even somehow had a loss to potentially Croatia. I do still feel like they are going to win the group fairly comfortably. But in terms of that second place spot, again, we've talked a few times about several fixtures that could decide who gets that second place position in that other spot to make it to the knockout stages. Keep an eye out for that Croatia-Canada game. Again, I do have them both with 4 points here. And certainly if that's the case, more than likely it would come down to goal differential, which I would be giving to Croatia. But do not count the Canadians out. They can score goals. They have a lot of attacking weapons. This side is definitely going to be able to, make, pull games open, create space, find gaps. And they're definitely going to make for some exciting times in their 3 fixtures for sure. So keep an eye out for that Canadian side. Still in the end, though, feel like that Belgium and Croatia will be able to advance. Moving on to Group G, we've got Brazil. Again, I still feel very comfortable in this team being able to get through, really no problem at all. This group looking pretty similar to the one that they had 4 years ago. They've seen these teams before. But, for me, I feel like Brazil, again, just too many weapons. Could certainly concede some goals. I think, physicality-wise, they could get bruised up a little bit here. But in terms of talent, attacking ability, there is certainly nobody better than Brazil. They have a plethora of options. So keep an eye out for the Brazilians to put up some big numbers in this group stage. And I do really feel like this game between Switzerland and Serbia is going to come down to who takes that second place spot. And again, could look very familiar and similar to the result that we saw them play back in 2018 when Switzerland won that game 2-1. So keep an eye out for that. Unfortunately, I don't have anything for Cameroon, but again, I feel like that team is going to give a great fight to these 3 competitors. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to, grab any points from, or at least enough to advance out of this group. And last but not least, Group H, a very intriguing group in terms of the storylines that come along with it. While Portugal do look pretty solid, looking at their roster, I'm just not 100% sure that this team is going to be equipped to win this group. I think that they're going to have a very difficult time in each of these 3 games. To be totally honest with you, I felt like 5 points might be a little bit generous. I could definitely see Portugal maybe only grabbing 4 and still advancing out of this group. However, again, we will certainly have to wait and see. I just feel like Uruguay's depth is maybe a little bit better, a bit more talent, and certainly, they blend well with their veterans and their youth in this squad. And certainly Portugal have that to a certain degree as well, but definitely like Uruguay to win this group. Don't forget that fixture that these two teams had in the round of 16 back in 2018 when Uruguay wound up winning 2-1. I believe Cavani had both goals in that game. Keep an eye out for South Korea. Remember, they had that upset victory over Germany in 2018. Son's going to play a big part in how well this team does. I do feel like they'll be able to secure third and give a fight, but I'm not sure that they'll be able to fight enough to get that second place spot. And again, unfortunately for Ghana, I'm just not entirely sure. Again, while this team's going to have a huge chip on their shoulder with some of their opponents, especially Uruguay. I feel like they could take a point off of Uruguay, and that's kind of where I've got them getting this point from. However, in terms of much like Senegal, Cameroon, unfortunately, I'm just not totally convinced that all these African sides are going to be able to do enough damage, considering the layout of each of these groups and just how much talent there is across every single group. And just I felt like I didn't see enough through qualifying as well as some of these playoff games that they had to come down and secure their qualification for this tournament. But we'll have to wait and see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like, go ahead and comment down below who you think is going to get out of each group. Give me your predictions, thoughts, concerns, questions, anything like that. Certainly, if you would hit that like and subscribe button as well. We will be bringing out our knockout predictions here pretty shortly. And again, my apologies for not having a camera like I've had in the past with some of these as well. Just having some technical difficulties as of late, and of course with my voice as well. So certainly apologize for that. But hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, we'll be back with more here shortly. And until next time, guys, peace out. We'll see you soon.